watch our videos. 99% of the people agree that the ones that I can think about shocked me when I got here, talking such low tones, like, speak a little bit, are quite small. I guess this question is common because making light of it that they don't have much, but they're just constantly happy-go-lucky people. Hi guys, welcome to today's super relaxing ASMR. Hope you enjoy these tingles. And do not forget to like, subscribe to our channel. We also have a membership program where you can join to be a member of this channel. We post some exclusive videos on there that are not on the main channel. I just posted one last night. We also do our member shoutouts during our videos, especially live videos, and we open chats to only members, just to get a one-on-one interaction with them, among other things. So if you'd like to join our channel as an exclusive member, do check it out. The joining button is on every video. It appears right opposite our name. So hope you all are doing well. It's getting to spring here, so sometimes the weather is, good, and then it gets, gloomy. It's one of the things that really amazes me about living here. Last week, everyone thought spring so cold, just like a proper winter. So yeah, the weather can be very confusing here, especially from someone coming from Africa. That reminds me, during most of our videos I ask you guys to give me recommendations on topics that you'd like to hear me talk about, well, whisper about. Since most of you know that I'm from Africa, to discuss or basically just, tell you all the culture shocks I've encountered living here. I guess this question is common because of where I come from. So in this video, I will just name the ones that I can think about. So the very first one I can think of is basically what I've been talking about, the weather being so erratic and unpredictable. I've always said this in some of my videos that I do not understand how people say that, oh, it's spring or it's summer, because I find that the two most dominant seasons here are summer and winter. Yeah, I know some people will say, oh, it's spring, but then it's super cold in spring. You still need a winter jacket on until at least 1 month or 1 month and a half to summer. So basically, the whole of fall, it's cold. It begins to be very cold. From September, you can go out without a sweater. And then October, it's like super, super cold, like really cold. All the way to March. And then, starts to get warmer. So yeah, some people ask me, what should I carry whenever they are traveling here? Like people from other European countries or people from Africa. They're like, so how's the weather? I hate summer, and I tell them, well, just carry a jacket, because a sweater might be too cold for you. Which is true because of also the winds. Very early on I discovered there's a lot of paperwork for everything, and the fact that on top of that it has to be translated, and something called super legalization. So basically, if you come with your documents, let's say for marriage, because my husband and I got married in Kenya, it was a long process to say the least, to gather all the papers for where you live, the marriage papers, have them super legalized, translated, it was just a whole lot of a process to go through. You just have to have a whole lot of papers, and this also applies to everything else you do here. Renting a flat, you need to give like a bunch of papers too, and buying or selling, the same thing. Also something like starting a business, so many more papers. That kind of surprised me, because where I come from you don't need that many papers or documents, Another thing, there is no predominant religion here. There are a lot of Catholic churches that people visit, just like you see a museum, but there's not that many, let's say, Catholics or Christians, Czechs are pretty respectful of every religion. But I feel like there are some religions that they just, incitement. They just do not, what's the word I'm looking for? Like basically they would prefer not to have them here. But otherwise I feel like they respect, everyone's choice of religion. Yeah. But otherwise I feel like they respect, religion no matter how they feel about it, the way you see in some countries there's so many Baptist churches, Methodist churches. You won't see that here. There's like, I can count on my finger the number of Christian churches around Prague. Not that many. So today for the most part, I'll be using my nails and maybe the pink comb from time to time. But mainly my nails. So, on arriving here, I quickly was shocked by the fact that, actually I think this happened at the airport, that the immigration officer spoke to me in English, yes, but then once I reached towards the gate to come out, the 2 or 3 men confronted me and started speaking to me in Czech, and I was like, what? I guess they were trying to ask where I come from, and they asked me for passport. They looked at my passport and then they let me through. This has actually happened for a few times of me going in and out. Anyway, the point is, I quickly understood that people here do not speak English. Not that many people speak English. At first I was very concerned of how I'll fit in, in a society where they do not speak English at all, And the fact that also my mother-in-law doesn't speak English, which is good for me, because we don't chat a lot. When she really wants to chat, she will translate, which is quite hectic. At that time, my sister-in-law couldn't speak English so well, so I only would talk to my husband, and his English was not 100% then too. So yeah, for people visiting here, especially from Africa, you'll be shocked to know that you might have to learn the language to be able to communicate. And with that being said, some young people do speak English and they can understand, with all the movies and with all the, everything that's happening in the world, the concerts and stuff, the internet. The young people, the young generation can speak English, but most of them no, like you might find some high schoolers that can speak it a little bit, but then they're afraid of speaking it, like embarrassed. I once asked a young person if they understood English, why they're not speaking, and they said that they're embarrassed. Some fear that their accent sounds horrible. I know my sister-in-law struggles with this too. They hate how they sound, so they would rather just not speak it, even though they can hear it and speak is that they'll have a guide who will speak for them everywhere, but there are some who choose to do it on their own. I just wonder how they navigate international airports and stuff like this. Must be hard, because also knowing English and not being able to practice it with anyone, you don't speak it at home. It's just a language and you're not so good at it, but you hardly speak it until at some foreign airport or a foreign country, at a hotel, that has to be hard, So yeah, that baffled me a lot, the fact that the shop attendants, most policemen, 90% of them, if I'm to say, and yeah, everyone in general, they all speak Czech. I was told that schools here, public schools, they teach English, but my husband and some other people are telling me that what they teach is just, it's useless. You do not understand because the teachers themselves are not good at it. So they are not like TEFL certified teachers. It's just, yeah, you won't get much from them. Top of most people here not being able to speak English or not speaking English at all. The Czech language is quite hard to master. I know people who've lived here for like 10-15 years and they still cannot speak it fluently. Like, they can make a sentence, but then the sentence won't be 100% correct, It will be, we call it a patching up words, just to try to make sense to the supermarket. Another culture shock that really shocked me when I got here was the fact that as a person of color, expect to be followed in the supermarket by the supermarket guards. They will follow you at every corner, watch your every move, and make you super uncomfortable. And this doesn't only happen to black people. It happens to any person of color, like Indians and people with darker skin tones. There's a whole lot of them here. They call them gypsies. They follow them around because most of these guards, I guess they are told, or they make up in their minds, that people with darker skin are the ones that are coming to rob the store. On the experts page I was talking about that experts who live here talk about different things. Most of them are always complaining that they are followed in supermarkets, like it's something that happens to almost, let's say, 98% of foreigners who are dark skin here. Some people are like, I'm Indian and my husband is, Czech, and I get followed in the supermarket and he doesn't. And another person is like, I'm from, let's say, Romania, and I have a darker skin tone, and my husband and I, we both get followed in the supermarket or in the clothing store. Like the latest I read was someone complaining about being followed in M&S, Marks and Spencer. Both are and her husband, they are experts from, I guess, was it Romania? I'm not sure. Just venting on the page how annoying it is to be followed in the supermarket, from the moment you enter. And they were making light of it that usually what they do when they enter, they split, because there's not very clothes in the clothing store. There's just like one, so they split up so that the guard doesn't know who to follow first. They're just making light of it, but it's quite annoying, you know. In some instances, I know that they also follow people with colored hair, like my sister-in-law. There's a lot of like addicts here in Europe in general. You will encounter a lot. Maybe this is not a culture shock for someone coming from, let's say, America or UK, but from someone coming from Africa to see people addicted to, that's really like mind-blowing, shocking for us, because we do not really have this class A to them. If they are, it's a very small number, and it's the ultra rich, because the reasoning of most people is, will I eat or take drugs, you know. We do have in the streets of, let's say, Kenya, some slums that they smoke something called glue, but they're not usually violent. They just take it to, I guess, I don't know why they take that glue, but there's very low crime from those kids in the streets who sniff glue. They call it sniffing glue. So you won't have someone losing their mind, attacking you with a knife, like it happens here sometimes, you know. It won't happen. They'll come and try to ask you for some coins to buy food, and then thank you and walk away if you don't give them. So I live in a small town, my husband and I, and I've had to confront some of those supermarket guards. Some of them, I told them that when my husband comes here, he's not followed, but you follow me, because I had a translated message. I stood in one corner, I called him and told him to his face, you're missing out on actual thieves following me because of my skin color, making me uncomfortable, that I feel like, you know, I'm in Big Brother. Everything I do, I can't even pick something and return it, because every single aisle, he just follows me and watches everything I pick, read and return, because everything is written in this language, so I have to mostly translate. I've even had one guard come up to me and say, don't take pictures, and I'm like, sir, this is a translator, I'm just trying to figure out what the F I am going to eat, you know. I want to know what it is. I'm not taking a picture, I am mirroring the translation. One time I've had to go to the supermarket with a translated message, because that supermarket is my favorite, and I told the guard, it's weird that whenever my husband and I come here, you don't follow him, but you're wasting all your time following me. If I was a thief, would I come here 3 or 4 times a week? Like, what kind of thief has that much money? And from then on, that was during the summer. After summer, I didn't see him anymore. And another one came and didn't follow me. So I guess this guy went and told management what I said, because I called him and stood him on a corner and told him, read that message to him. So yeah, that's crazy. I don't know if I've mentioned in my previous videos that coming here as an African, I really, you know, didn't know what to expect. One thing I kept on thinking about was the fact that maybe I kept on thinking that people dress so fancy here, you know, because it's Europe and, you know, they buy clothes from the store and not from the market. But I was very shocked because, to be honest, most people here do not have any sense of style. They literally just slap on anything and that's it. You will hardly see anyone with a good fashion sense walking in the streets here. And at this point, honestly, I can tell the Czechs and foreigners or tourists. It's very easy to spot them. Even at the airport, my husband and I are always looking through and say, that person was not smiling and angry. Must be that other couple is quite happy. Then, you know, if we are going on holiday, we always wonder, why would anyone be at the airport? Clearly looking, they're going on a holiday. They have the sun hats and everything, but they look so miserable. So I've talked about this in my previous videos. I was shocked to see very young kids going into the metro, walking around even sometimes at 9, 10 p.m. A really young kid in the capital Prague just walking around the streets, probably going somewhere or heading home. This really shocked me. It's not something you see where I come from. Actually, my grandma, when we were like 13, 14, worried about sending us to the market at 5 p.m. because we walk. She still worries about us at this age. My sister and my cousins lived with my grandma until they were in their early 20s, and she worried about them walking at night. She just constantly called them at 5, at 6, at 7. Where are you? Are you coming? Where are you? Are you coming? Have you left work? Are you coming? But here, I was shocked to see such young kids just roaming the streets at night with their fellows, and also such young kids going to school by metro. It was really crazy. And also, this is the one thing I've been talking about so much, that it really kind of makes me sad. The fact that these same young kids were taking themselves to school, navigating the metro and stuff like that, alone. And this is like a kid under 10 years old. They go to school and then they come back home and the parents are at work. So for the longest time I was like, it really disheartened me, and I kept commenting it to my husband, how I was so taken aback by the fact that these kids go to school on their own and come back home around 1, 2 or 3ish. There's no one at home, so it's just them. And I asked my husband at that age, what did you do? And he'd be like, well, it's pretty common here. Myself at that age, I just get home. There's nobody home. There's most times no prepared food. So you just buy bread and something, eat with it, and then play video games. You don't do your homework, basically. You just play video games and, maybe go visit a friend. The friend also, the parents are not home because they're working until like 5, 6. It's a very common thing here, and that completely blew my mind. These kids are coming home, there's no one there, and they basically can indulge in anything. They can drink, they can watch obscene things on the internet. There's no one at home. So yeah, that really shocked me, to say the least. A lot of comments of people saying things like, oh ew, she's touching all that crazy stuff with her hands. Well, this is just a face mask, dried and added with soap. So it's not that the scalp is this dirty. And I know I keep saying this so many times, but just people do not read that description. Anyway, another culture shock that I encountered my first weeks of being quite young, like first year of high school, and the other one is a baby. Then there's the mother and father. And I cannot wrap my head around the fact that their house is as big as ours. They're flat, yet they call them flats. It's as big as ours. I just cannot wrap my head around it. Every time I think about it, I tell my husband, I cannot believe it. Because their flat is the same size as ours. That's 3 plus 1, meaning there's a living room, there's a bedroom, a kitchen, there's an extra bedroom, and there's a kind of a room, like an office room. So I don't know if I've explained that well. 2 bedrooms, living room, kind of a office room, and a kitchen, and of course a bathroom and toilet. That's quite big. That's the one thing I love about our flat. The bathroom and the toilet are quite big. So I cannot imagine how that whole family lives in the house exactly the same size as ours. Living spaces in Europe are quite small and people don't seem to mind it. So I know I've said this a lot in the previous videos, and I'm talking about different things, about my culture and where I come from. And I've mentioned this a couple of times, so the people who watch our videos, for all the new people that haven't watched all the 400 and something videos to hear me talk about this. So living here, I was quite shocked, and this is not my opinion alone. This is the opinion of even some Europeans who come from other European countries, and they're experts here. I follow an experts page. This expert page is always talking about just basically various things from motherhood to female stuff, women stuff, hospitals for women, stuff like that, and their encounters and day-to-day lives as experts here. And most of the people, 99% of the people, agree that Czechs are very cold, impersonal. How do I say it? Kind of like they're having a bad day every day. That mood. You will see it a lot here moving here. I hate to look like I'm, making them look bad, but the truth is, and I'm not really trying to say that my country is better, but if any of you has ever traveled to Africa, you know that some African countries you find the most happiest, just happy-go-lucky people, They don't have much, but they're just constantly happy, smiling, dancing in the streets. It's crazy, and you won't see that here. Living in an apartment building which a neighbor will most likely never even speak to you, not even hello. You will see them, and they will also look at you even in the street and most likely not say hello to you. One, you can say it's because they do not speak the language, but you can say hello, or just nod to acknowledge someone. It's not rocket science, it's not, there's no one on this earth who doesn't know what hello means. 6 people all looked at me, gave me the most angry, mean looks. And you know what? I continued to laugh just to make them a little bit more angry. Also, the fact that people here talk in such low tones, like they're afraid of being heard, it's crazy. With the exemption of my mother-in-law, of course, my mother-in-law is quite loud. Of course, not every person who lives here or who comes from here, but most of them, the biggest population, they are very, like they talk in very low tones, so you can easily identify an American or a foreigner from far if they're talking to a friend or if they're talking on the phone, even though you don't know what language they're speaking, that's not a Czech, because Czechs are very like hush hush, whispers, talking slowly, it's crazy. But I guess that's their thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Anyway, guys, I still have a whole lot of work to do on his hair. So tune into the next video. I will be scratching and nitpicking. Also, I still have a whole lot of culture shocks